We had a drinking party to celebrate the peonies. I drank cup after cup until I got drunk. Then, to my shame, I heard the flowers whisper, "What are we doing blooming for these old alcoholics?" This fall, we had a drinking party to celebrate 7 years of this movable feast. And while we were more abstemious than the Chinese poet Pa Chui, I, for one, remained slightly intoxicated at the thought of this recurring colloquy of voices that joins us as a community where we hear work developed, nurtured, brought to fruition season after season. So I'm particularly humbled and delighted tonight to share new work that you have been hearing over the past 2 residencies. It's from a book-length poem in progress called To Banquet with the Worthy Ethiopians, a memoir of life before the alphabet. And as you may recall, it takes place at the border between myth and time, between childhood and adulthood, and between orality and literature. A location which is called in this poem the summer of 265, which is an item on a very long list of shame that the protagonist keeps on a shelf in his office, folded in a copy of Homer's Iliad, a text he first encountered in the summer of 265 in a prose translation by W.H.D. Rouse. This is the 3rd chapter. It's called Achilles' Shield. And there's an epigraph from Heraclitus, who wrote, "Homer should be taken out of the canon and whipped. He was wrong to say, 'Would that strife perish from the world.' He did not see that he was praying for the destruction of the universe. Everything is born from and made necessary by strife." When Homer's knife rives Heraclitus' heart, and strife finally perishes from the world, then the sea between the summer of 265 and the shelf where I secrete my list of shame will undulate, turn by dream-tossed turn, in the belly of a room, a rippling house, whose roof tree is a rocking, chanting child. I close my eyes. Back and forth, heel to palm, he glides, his flank ruined, alight with primal rondure. His song is ungrounded utterance, which I translate to amend the poet's prayer. Would that strife perish from the word. Let the alphabet be unstrung and the paragraphs of W.H.D. Rouse be dismantled. Let lines be birthed and spoken in one breath. Let us all be whole, be one. Let us all sail home. But in the silent office where I brood, paroled by Agamemnon, who unsheathed my heart and stitched in livid script, time proceeds under the tireless sun, and the child's song, if he sings, cannot be heard, or heard can't be interpreted. What remains between moon and cup is a burnished shield, hammered into syntax by a god. Blind fingers trace enamel's script. Metal scorches, beaten edges cut, but no eye or hand can pierce the scrim. Without the child rocking in the house of his own making, this is all there is in the distant summer on my list of shame. The twice-notched, jewel-encrusted page, stripping with magnificent designs, the beaked moon, Pleiades, the bear, and beneath gleaming bronze tableaus of a clay tennis pavilion, tawny as an urn, broiling under a monstrance of sunlight. the great bean clubhouse swept for games, the Queen of Heaven's shrine and the pine cabins, and the emerald dappled bay of the squire's camp. I trace my livid script. I bend my cheek to the graved leaf that muffles the child's song, but hear only a barrage of battle cries. Not the stilted expletives that Rouse stuffs into the mouth of Menelaus. Sarpedon, you are a high counselor among your own people, but what are you doing skulking here, an unwarlike fellow like you? No. The war cries in the bunk were spiced with secrets. You prick, you cunt, you douche, you twat, you slit. From reveille to taps they ululated. Screw you, your mother, your face, my ass, your schlong. A self-generating recitative. Dipshit, asshole, cocksucker, numbnuts, dildo. Strife's totems disfigured privy walls. Rockets, mushrooms, silly espouting specimens from school biotexts. The war cries brazed knuckles, sharpened teeth. They tore the scabs off elbows, whittled stares. Once, Winkles flashed a bodice ripper he'd stolen from his father's bottom drawer, and for days the war cries morphed to Cunny, Quim, Roger, Bugger, Bunghole. Embedded in the all-encompassing shield, archived in each kick and slap and punch, in the cicada's fury and the shadow's leer and the untimely palpitations of each heart, Strife, a goddess, snarled her syllables. The fiercest war cry and the most taboo was the syllable of aegis-bearing Zeus. It could be screamed or muttered, howled or gestured. It was capable of conjugation. It signified, I cannot be touched. It said, escape this bag of skin. It meant, I am a knife, you a sheath. It signified, I will unveil death. The first I ever heard the aegis uttered, I was buried in Book 5, where swift Odysseus thrusts a spear into the buttocks of Pherecus. The point pushes through, piercing the bladder. I raised my head and saw on the windy beach a boy's cheek ground into sand, his unveiled eye marbled, one lip oozed blood. It was Floss. Straddling his writhing belly was Anteater, expert at war cries. With his face crushed under Anteater's heel and one arm twisted hard behind his back, Floss would not cry uncle and instead spat out the aegis. In Book 5, the lethal syllable froze Odysseus in mid-thrust. On the beach, Anteater ungripped and stepped away. I confess that although I voyaged to this camp from Queens, and although I practiced in the bathroom mirror, hip thrust and guffaw and snapping towel, and although I combed Rouse for hidden clues, I did not know exactly what the war cries cried for. As for the aegis syllable, I rifled the inventory of cognates. I knew it stemmed from German for to strike, but its true signification remained veiled. In Rouse, unveiled meant undone. There was Helen stripped to service shamed Paris, Hector hog-tied, Thersites flogged, and the Queen of Heaven strappadoed from the moon. Throughout the squires of Columbus camp, on walls and votive lamps, and around throats, hung totems of unveiled, disfigured gods. A beakless bird, a burning heart cut out, a child affixed in a panoply of dread humiliation, arms outstretched, torso sculpted down to the starved rib. Fearfully I traced his cambered knees, kissed the nipple nailed to his slim feet. Had his umber cheek been ground fine into sand, it might be Thersites. It might be bird or heart. It might be Achilles naked on the rampart, arms outstretched. The night after the day that Floss bled, I wandered the beach beneath the Pleiades and glimpsed a shadow cowled beneath a boat. Creeping closer, I saw Odysseus. And from beneath his crouching form, over the growl of surf, I heard a cry. Fucking shit, hissed Anteater between clenched teeth, a fist pumping his groin. Holy fuck, Jesus fucking Christ! Heraclitus, if your heart's unsheathed, palpitating air, no need to fear. The morning Homer left the rocking house. Strife ground his cheek into the page, and heaven, earth, sea, the untiring sun, cities of mortal men, dancers whirling, shepherds, vineyards, farmland, sheaves of wheat, every harmonious note the child had sung, even the slim foot of Strife herself, hardened into gleaming bronze tableaus, forged by a lame god for a killer's shield. And Homer is not blind, though his eyes are marble. He is a child staked at the pith of a burning city, his naked pelt crucified in time. Thank you.